a body floating in the Thames. A student died on a South African mountain. A barefoot child wandering London's midnight streets. 3 places, 3 crimes, 3 stories that grip you by the heart and don't let go. Welcome to the World of the In Crowd by Charlotte Vassell, Leo by Deon Meyer, and The White Crow by Michael Robotham. The top 3 crime thrillers of 2025. Each one dives into the shadows of power, loyalty, and truth, but in their own unforgettable way. So sit back, close your eyes, and let's step into their worlds. 1. The In Crowd, Charlotte Vassell. It begins with water, the kind that ripples cold and silent through early morning London. A rower glances down. Something breaks the calm. A shape drifting. A man's body, pale against the dark current of the Thames. Detective Inspector Caius Beecham has seen death before, but this one doesn't fit the pattern. The man's expensive shoes, the subtle bruising on his neck. Nothing screams robbery. Everything whispers cover up. And just when Caius thinks the day can't twist any stranger, he's at the theater that night when another man collapses, dead, only a few seats away. Coincidence? Not in Caius's London. 2 deaths, days apart, with threads that lead to the same circle of privilege, the In Crowd. Politicians, financiers, influencers, the glittering elite who smile for cameras by day and make deals with devils by night. Behind the laughter and champagne, there are secrets. A CEO who vanished with millions, a missing schoolgirl from 20 years ago, and whispers of an underground network protecting its own. Caius, along with DS Matt Chung and DC Amy Noakes, begins to tug on those threads. And the more they pull, the darker it gets. The case drags them from riverbanks to penthouses, from charity galas to police archives. And somewhere in that labyrinth stands Calliope Foster, a woman with secrets of her own, elegant, magnetic, perhaps a little too close to the truth. Each clue turns the investigation into a chess match. Every move reveals another mask. When the final reveal comes, it's not just a killer unmasked. It's a portrait of how far people will go to stay inside the circle of power. What makes the In Crowd so irresistible is its rhythm. The smart dialogue, the blend of wit and danger, the peek behind the velvet rope of high society. Agatha Christie meets Made in Chelsea, only sharper, funnier, and far more deadly. Why listeners stay hooked? Because we all know there's an In Crowd somewhere, and maybe, just maybe, the river hides what they don't want us to see. 2. Leo, Deon Meyer. Shift continents now. The sun rises over Stellenbosch, South Africa. Wine country, quiet roads, the illusion of peace. Detective Benny Griesel takes a slow sip of coffee, unaware that within hours, calm will be shattered. A student, young, promising, with a future ahead, lies dead on a mountain biking trail. No witnesses, no motive, only tire tracks and a silence that feels deliberate. At the same time, a retired soldier named Tao Berger sets his sights on revenge. A man wronged, a man who has lost everything, and who now hunts not for justice, but for balance. And elsewhere, someone is orchestrating a heist so intricate, so daring, it could rewrite the power structure of the country itself. Benny Griesel and his partner Von Cupido, veterans of chaos, are pulled into a storm that spans from the dusty outskirts to the corridors of politics and finance. Each thread seems separate, the dead student, the ex-soldier, the stolen millions, but Deon Meyer's genius lies in the weave. Gradually, the stories collide until you realize every life, every loss, is part of a single grand design. Benny is racing against 2 clocks, one that counts down to his wedding on June 12th, and another ticking toward catastrophe. He wants peace. The world refuses to give it. When he finally uncovers the truth, who pulled the trigger, who ordered the heist, who betrayed whom, the revelation cuts to the bone. Sometimes the system you serve is the one feeding the rot. Why it hooks audiences? Because Leo isn't just a crime novel. It's a reflection of how fragile morality becomes when survival is at stake. It's smart, cinematic, deeply human, And that's why listeners stay through every twist. 3. The White Crow, Michael Robotham. London again, but not the same one. The air here hums with tension. Rain slicks the pavement as a police constable spots a small figure ahead. A child, barefoot, pajamas soaked. "Where's your mom?" she asks softly. The little girl looks up, eyes wide. She won't wake up. Philomena McCarthy is used to chaos. She's a cop and the daughter of a gangster. A woman walking the thinnest of lines between two worlds that don't forgive betrayal. She takes the child home and walks straight into a nightmare. A mother beaten, a crime scene that feels wrong, and evidence that points not to strangers, but to people Phil's known her whole life. Across the city, a jeweler is found strapped to a bomb. Milieu missing. Different crimes, different victims, yet threads begin to intertwine. Soon, whispers start. Her father, Eddie McCarthy, the crime boss. Her uncles, old enemies, old debts. Every step Phil takes feels like walking a wire between duty and blood. How far can you go to protect your family before you become one of them? As her career unravels and the media turns, Phil faces a terrible choice. Expose her own bloodline or become complicit in silence. The title The White Crow says it all. The outlier, the one that doesn't belong. Phil is both cop and criminal's daughter, loyal and torn, hero and survivor. Robotham builds tension with surgical precision. Each chapter tightens the knot. Each revelation hits like a punch to the ribs. And yet, amid all the grit, there's heart. The desperate love of a daughter trying not to drown in her own lineage. Why it keeps audiences listening. Because Phil's story isn't just a thriller, it's personal. We all wonder who we'd be if forced to choose between what's right and who we love. Why these three stand above the rest, 2025. Now that we've walked through all three, the question remains. Why these books? Why are the In Crowd, Leo, and The White Crow the top crime thrillers of 2025? Let's break it down. 1. They reinvent the detective. In older mysteries, detectives were stoic outsiders. These three make them human. Caius Beecham isn't just clever. He's flawed, witty, occasionally lost. Benny Griesel carries fatigue, love, and moral conflict. Philomena McCarthy fights not only crime, but her own bloodline. They don't just solve cases, they survive them. 2. They merge suspense with social commentary. The In Crowd exposes privilege and corruption in London's elite. Leo explores the scars of South Africa's inequality and the cost of justice. The White Crow delves into family loyalty, police ethics, and inherited sin. That's what modern readers crave, thrillers that mean something. 3. Their storytelling feels cinematic. All three authors build worlds that you can hear and see. The clink of glasses on the Thames. The echo of boots on a Stellenbosch trail. The hum of a London street at midnight. They write scenes that sound like movies, perfect for audio or streaming audiences. 4. They respect the listener's intelligence. These aren't spoon-fed mysteries. You connect dots, question motives, doubt everyone. And that's exactly why engagement stays high. The audience becomes part of the investigation. 5. They balance darkness with empathy. In all three, beneath the crime, there's compassion. A detective who still believes in decency. A man seeking redemption before his wedding. A woman torn between love and law. These emotional cores make the stories linger long after the last page, or the last second of your video. Closing, tie it all together. So here we are, 3 worlds, 3 investigations. Each begins with a body, but ends with a mirror held up to us. Because whether it's the glittering halls of privilege, the battle-scarred fields of South Africa, or the rain-drenched backstreets of London, every story asks the same question. What would you do when truth and loyalty collide? That's why the In Crowd, Leo, and The White Crow dominate 2025's crime scene. They remind us that justice is never simple. The truth is never clean, and every secret, sooner or later, demands to be heard. If you enjoyed this storytelling deep dive into 2025's best crime thrillers, don't forget to hit subscribe, because next week, we're unlocking the real-life mysteries behind the books you love with social commentary. Each book